All right, so here's a question. Let's spend 15 minutes on this. Was Fox News difficult and hard on too hard on Kamala Harris? Let's get a little bit of it, how it started off, and then we might
hmm
skip around a little bit, but I want to get y'all thoughts on this. Let me play a little bit of this.
Madam Vice President, thank you for the time.
Thank you. It's good to be with you, Bret.
You know, voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you,
now,
just a number, do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Bret, let's just get to the point, okay? The point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions.
I'm not finished. We have
it's a
an
rough
immigration
estimate of
system
6 million people have been released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question, I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when you came into office, your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies. Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation, either in the U.S. or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress, before we worked on infrastructure, before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the Chips and Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the... Yes, ma'am.
May I finish responding, please? But you have to let me finish,
You
please.
had the White House and the House and the Senate,
and
they didn't bring up that bill.
I'm in the middle of responding to the point you're raising,
okay,
and I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
We recognized from day one that, to the point of this being your first question, it is a priority for us as a nation and for the American people. And our focus has been on fixing a problem. And from day one, then, we have done a number of things, including to address our asylum system and put more resources, getting more judges, what we needed to do to tighten up penalties and increase penalties for illegal crossings, what we needed to do to deal with points of entry between border entry points. That's the work we did, and we worked on supporting what was a bipartisan effort, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, to actually strengthen the border. That border bill would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border, which is why I believe the Border Patrol agents supported the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States, which is a scourge affecting people of every background, every geographic location in our country, killing people. It would have allowed us to put more resources into prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, which I have done as the Attorney General, former Attorney General of a border state.
Madam Vice President, a couple of things.
Prosecuted trafficking of drugs, guns, and human beings. And Donald Trump, but let me just finish.
6 Democrats voted against that bill.
Learned about that bill and told them to kill it because he preferred to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And in this election, this is rightly a discussion that the American people want to have. And what they want are solutions, and they want a president of the United States who's not playing political games with the issue,
I hear you,
but actually is focused on fixing it.
6 Democrats voted against that bill. It would have allowed 1.8 million illegal immigrants into the country a year. A lot of conservatives had a problem with it. These are the 6 Democrats. But more importantly, back to the original premise, Jocelyn Nungari, Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, they are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before a negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. So if it wouldn't have happened, this is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe
Bret,
those families an apology?
Let me.
You on mute?
I'm sorry. Thank you. What are y'all thoughts? Do y'all think that Fox News was too hard on Kamala Harris? Or do you think that they did exactly what they were supposed to do in order to bring light to issues that people really want to know real answers to?
They did exactly what they were supposed to do. Finally, somebody, and it's still, he still didn't get really no hard answers, but he tried. At least he tried. So I thought it was phenomenal. I loved it because
People online and people on the
go ahead.
social media spaces are saying that some people seen it differently. Some people said that they seen her as poised. Other people said that they seen her as um, frazzled and aggressive. And people had different reactions to it, I guess, depending on what side of the fence you on. What do y'all think about this? Because obviously it got a little bit more aggressive later on in the live, I mean, in the video and stuff. And also to add context, they're saying that she was 15 minutes late, and the campaign staffers and the aides was trying to hurry up and shut them down towards the end because they
Mhm.
didn't want her to continue talking. What are y'all thoughts on this whole situation?
I think going into any interview with this woman, they should say you can't mention Trump. All the questions you have to give us an answer without mentioning
That's
that nigga's
fair. I
name.
like that. I like
It's
that.
like nigga, why you like you? It's ridiculous. Well, Trump this and don't even. She didn't answer any questions, which is why he kept cutting her off. Nigga, you're not answering the question. That's why I'm cutting you off to clarify, because clearly you didn't hear me.
I agree.
Well,
I agree with you,
the,
Quinn.
the thing is that most politicians, man, when they running against somebody, they not gonna not mention the other candidate. Like 9 times out of 10. Well, I ain't gonna say that.
That's not
Some
true.
won't.
Trump don't.
Some
Trump
won't.
don't say
Some won't.
Kamala,
Some
He
won't.
said, "Comrade."
Most of
whatever her
them.
damn
Most
name
of them.
is.
Most of them. They gonna mention. They gonna
That
mention the other
nigga answers the
candidate. It's
question. That
just
nigga answers the questions.
they gonna mention the other candidate. Not most will. But the
No, not
problem.
this many times, Slimmy.
Nigga, like every answer, nigga, she said Trump. Like, where did like she kept saying,
It
like
was
when she
like
said one
Trump,
twice, all right, no big deal. But nigga, it got 5, 10, 8, 10, 15, 20 times.
Trump.
Yeah,
Somebody
Trump.
no,
said they
but
counted
that
21 times or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
That
Trump.
you
that's why
mentioned
I do
Trump.
agree that I do agree that there's like there's some credence to what you're saying, Quinn. Like, yeah, she should have been able to express what she felt about what she would do. It's not it can't always be compare and contrast everything, every answer.
But she's
It
she's
should be
not
like
comparing and
you running for
contrasting either.
president. You're running for president. You're not trying to like run some small company. Like we need to know exactly what you're going to do to fix the country. But
She's not.
this is my
She don't know what
problem
she
with
doing.
politics because it doesn't matter how much he does push back or whatever he does. She literally does not have to answer the questions. She can literally avoid them because this is what they do. They just this is what they do. They literally never have solutions. They promise things that they can't necessarily do themselves that they can't get done. This is the problem with politics. This is just my thoughts. Like that's why I don't like that
Here's
shit,
the
man.
other thing, though, Slimmy, that a lot of people aren't familiar with. When you are actually in that position, like when you are actually a politician, they won't let you answer questions directly. Like if you're in a like an actual position, right? Like Trump is not a
Mhm.
politician right now, right? He
Right,
doesn't hold any office,
right.
but she does, right? But you have a record of hers, so you can clearly see it. And then she's done actually so many interviews. Like every time she does one of these interviews, I can go back and pick everything apart. Like literally in my videos, that's why I can do that, because she's already said something that's going to contradict something she's saying now.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem, man. Like, you're never gonna get a real answer. You're never gonna get a real solution. They just she in particular, she not it, man. She not it. I'll even go as far as to say there's been politicians who probably I guess you could say we probably knew they weren't gonna be able to do shit, but they sounded like they were gonna be able to do something. That's what the thing was with Obama. Like after that first term, we knew he wasn't gonna do shit. But he still sounded like somebody who could get some shit done. She
Well, that's
doesn't
why
sound like
but
somebody
that's
who
why
can do
his
anything.
ratings went down though. Ever since he had like a high approval rating, he had a high voter turnout when he first got elected. If you look
Right.
at that from the second time, it was a significant drop because people started to realize that it was all just talk. And for the Democratic Party, period, it's been going down and down and down because that's all they do. Unfortunately for Kamala, she's what the Democratic Party candidate has always been. It's just that the tail end that people are
No,
tired of.
Mika. No,
Hold
she
on,
can't even.
no, no,
She
no,
don't
no, no.
even
She
talk it.
is no, she is
She
the
don't even
the
talk it.
quintessential Democrat where I'm gonna stick to these talking points, but people are able to see through it now. And now she's just getting what Barack should have got, what Hillary Clinton should have got, what Bill Clinton should have got. Like all of these Democrats that they never
Uh,
get.
no, they talk it better than she can. I'm sorry. Like, I'm
But
sorry.
but
They
Barack
they
Obama
they
never
talk
said
they talk
nothing. Barack
way
Obama
better
never
than her.
said nothing though, Slimmy. Barack Obama never said nothing. He did the same. He has a better diction and he has a better he's better at convincing, right? He has more
That's what.
confidence in his tone, right? His
Yeah.
tone and his diction helps. But what I am saying, that helps with conviction, right? But what I'm saying is he's not saying anything different. He had the same talking points. And honestly, like now all the black men and men in general that are mad that he said whatever, he's been talking down. He's
You,
been doing this. It's just
no,
now
no,
you're
no,
at a point where you're tired of it.
no. But what I'm saying is, Mika, though, like,
Mm-hmm.
even if I do agree that uh Barack Obama is saying nothing. He says it better. He sells it better. You know what I'm saying? Hillary Clinton, she
I
sells
can
it
agree.
better.
I can agree there.
They
I
sell
can
it
agree
better.
there.
Like
Hillary Clinton pandered. Hillary Clinton
Kamala
did the
is
same
so
thing.
Kamala is so like she's so like low on the totem pole. I don't believe any. She not even saying. She don't even
But
sell
she
it. This.
that's
She not
because
saying nothing. It's
she was supposed to
nothing
be
there.
able to run. That's because Slimmy, she was supposed to be able to run on the fact of Batman Orange. That's all she needed. Because
Yeah. Well,
people
yeah.
don't
Yeah.
like Donald Trump. So
Yeah. Because
you don't need to be charismatic. You don't need to have the best record, right? That's why they just stuck her there.
well,
Because
that's
all you
why.
need to do is talk about Donald Trump. And that's why she said on what is it, Colbert? She was like, well, when he asked her what was she gonna do something, what was she gonna do differently? What did she say? Well, I'm definitely not, Joe Biden, but I'm definitely not Trump. That is her whole stick. I'm not Trump. That's it. That's why she has nothing else to say.
Yeah, and that's why they're not gonna win more than likely because everything just can't be anti somebody. You eventually you got to prove that you're able to do something. Eventually, you got to be able to prove it. And by this being, um, you already had your run. You had your 4 year run, and you were a part of that run, and you did absolutely nothing, and you don't have no solutions. You're not even sounding like you have solutions. People not gonna buy into that shit, man. You already had a failed run, and you're not selling us nothing. At least sell something. You got to be able to
Okay.
sell something.
So so real quick. Okay, so real quick, there's a guy in the comments that's very liberal, right? And the craziest part is when you're very, very liberal, you cannot see what these people are doing, what they don't do. I literally did a entire video showing that the executive orders that Biden did, as far as the insulin, as far as the COVID assistance, all of that Donald Trump did before he left office. All they did was revoke it and then put it back and gave it a new name. Even the DEI hire thing, Donald Trump had a whole law for that.
Hmm.
And I put up the executive orders and everything. They don't care. So when liberals tell me that my take is off, I tell them they've been off because they cannot look at anything objectively.
No, Mika, you a
Everything
thousand
is
percent
subject.
right.
Everything is about feelings. It's always a vibe. Just like you were talking about with Obama. Everything is a vibe. They can't tell me one policy. Not one policy, because she don't have none. That's why she can't even name a policy. They'll just say bad man orange. So anybody that works off feelings can't say nothing to me.
Yeah. See, another thing that that the Dems problem is they just keep using the same playbook. They just bank on like, oh, we're gonna get the black vote, and yeah, that's all we're gonna worry about.
No, they don't care. They don't care about the black vote. They don't even when it boils down to the black plan the other day. Donald Trump's plan for the platinum plan, he literally was talking about putting 500, I think it was like 500 million into the community and talking about capital investments and this and that and the third. Kamala didn't say any of that. She didn't even give a bullet point. She was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. And they were okay with it, or telling people, what else do you want? That is the liberal mindset. So I can't even argue that mindset because I can't understand how you don't ask questions. I can't understand how it's only if you like somebody. I like plenty of people that I would never vote in office.
That's fair.
You're muted.
I think that they were fair. Um, and the reason that I think that they were fair because I think that she don't answer the questions. And
Yeah.
the important part about that Fox News interview was that they seen the finesse. And she still tried to finesse, even though she agreed to the interview by showing up 15 minutes late and then having their campaign staffers try to hurry up and wave them off. And Bret was so strategic. He was so smart because he was saying it out loud like, yeah, and your campaign staffers are trying to hurry up and have me wrap this up. So I just got to get to one more question. Like he was strategically here. Let me play it in the back one more time. I'm gonna show y'all real quick because I want to make sure that y'all understand what was going on. There's a lot of finesse because she got there super late. But look, check this out.
That is presented
And say and think differently. Madam Vice President, they're wrapping me very hard here. I hope you got to say what you wanted to say about Donald Trump. There are a lot of things
There's more to say. I have much more
there
to
are
say,
a lot of
actually.
things that people want to learn about you and your policies,
Yes.
and that's why we
I
invited
invite
you
everyone
here.
to go to kamalaharris.com, and you will see that I have 80 pages of policies. Who would like to read them? This is what I do.
And that's why
intend
we
to do to
invited you
strengthen
here
our economy,
to see where you were in 2019 and where you are now.
support America's military and ensure we have the most lethal and best fighting force in the world.
Madam Vice President,
And
they're giving me a hard rap
well,
here.
I thank you for the time.
I thank you for the time.
I mean, it's just the facts. Like the finesse was in. I'm glad that he called it out. He seemed like he was 100% in control 100% of the time. And she limits her interviews to less than 25 minutes per person because it allows for her to just continue to talk really slow and say these same talking points while not really saying nothing at all, only so she can say, yeah, but I went to that platform too. And she doesn't take hard questions. She doesn't do long interviews. She doesn't do any of that stuff. And so all of it is a finesse. I haven't seen her do any interview above 30 minutes, not one. And if you telling me that she would go on Joe Rogan, nah, I don't believe that she would ever go on Joe Rogan. So,
Hell no.
I think it was fair because it allowed for him to push back. I think that he did exactly what he did. He kept her on point, and if she'd answered the questions and then added the context directly, then you would have seen a more civil conversation. But she tried to overtalk. She tried to get off these points without saying nothing at all, like she usually doing in word salad. And I think he did what he was supposed to do. Listen, somebody said Bret just apologized. I didn't see that, and if he did, it doesn't matter. He knew what he executed. He executed. He 100% executed.
He only apologized because the network told him to, man. Like, he ain't
Yeah, it don't
apologized because
matter.
he meant
He
it.
know he executed. He
What is he
executed.
apologizing for?
I don't
He
know. They
didn't do
He ain't
said
any
that.
apologized
than
because
that
he meant
lady
it. It's
did
because
last week on
the
CNN.
network told him that, man, listen, bro, like,
I don't know if he
we
really
don't.
apologized. That's what they saying in the chat.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, like, if
And
he did, he
honestly,
ain't
he
mean
was
that shit.
respectful the whole
What
time.
you gonna
Like
apologize for? Asking questions? That don't
Because
he
make
was
any
because
respectful
sense.
this
the whole time.
because this goes back to the original point that we still treat women with kid gloves even though they're running for the same office as men.
Woo!
No, nobody ever required Dana Bash to apologize to JD Vance or Trump. Nobody ever required the woman from the National Association of Black Journalists to apologize. Nobody ever does that. And this shows you the difference in a misogyny that goes, well, not even misogyny. This shows you the difference
Mister.
in misandry and the kid gloves that
Mm-hmm.
we treat women with, even though they're trying to win the top office of the United States of America. I didn't hear him apologize. Number one, somebody said that he did, but I didn't hear him apologize. But the point is that the fact that people are complaining that she finally got that pressure on her and she
Hey, oh,
wasn't able to hold on to the pressure shows you that women have more privilege in kid gloves, even though we talking about being a commander in chief. I don't agree with it.
That's why she kept doing that whole. She tried to do the "I'm speaking." She tried to do the "I'm speaking." I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
hold on, Kevin Brown. Yeah. People complaining about her not going on the platforms and the length of the interview because if it's short, then she's not going to be able to explain herself. That's the whole purpose of her being there 15 minutes late. That's why she does short interviews so they can't ask her questions and get her to talk in depth. That's the
Yep.
whole purpose. That's why he was. That's why he was badgering her about the immigration
Listen,
questions. Come on, man.
if you can't deal with being pressured in an interview, what makes you think that we think you can stand up to Vladimir Putin?
Man,
If
come
you
on,
can't
man.
if you
They don't
can't
want to
deal
bully. They
with
said they don't want to bully.
if you can't deal with a Bret, then what makes you can deal with a Vlad?
Just
That's
just just
why.
for
That's
just to
why he
switch it
said
up,
it.
I'm not a part of this echo chamber that's going on right now.
What does that mean, Quentin?
Huh?
You're
What?
more than welcome to give your opinion.
This ain't no echo chamber.
I think he was rude to Kamala.
Well, yeah, how's that?
A
Give us
man
an
should
answer.
never interrupt when a woman's talking.
Bull.
Should a woman ever interrupt when a man's talking?
Nope.
Okay, so then that means that everybody has been rude to Trump, then, right?
I agree.
There you go. Okay, as long as you're consistent. But I disagree with you anyway. But I respect the consistency, but I disagree with the take. You know why? Because Quentin interrupts Mika all the time.
Whoa.
So you can't say a man should never interrupt a woman when they're talking when Quentin literally interrupts Mika sometimes when she's talking.
I said he shouldn't. I didn't say I don't do it. It shouldn't happen.
Hey, way to weasel up out of there,
You
buddy.
know
No,
what?
that's a fair
I could give
response.
respect where respect is due. At
That's a fair
least
Way to
response.
weasel up out of there, buddy.
you're BS. You know you on that time.